When you know your values, it's a lot easier for you to say no to stuff. It's a lot easier for you to, I guess, snap out of certain things, right? You might fall into something, but it's easier for you to snap out of it or whatever, like to come back to your senses and all these different things when you know your values. Because if something isn't in line with your values, like it has no room in your life.
To some, boundaries are just placing limits. To me, it's where the limitless things begin.
Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning into the Boundaries and More podcast with Jess Abraham. I am your host, Jess Abraham, your favorite boundaries coach, and today's episode is brought to you by Joyful Styles. Joyful Styles is a lifestyle brand that provides premium quality apparel that promotes joy and positivity. Joyful Styles believes how we approach the situation matters, and choosing to be joyful makes all the difference. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. So, get your Joyful Styles apparel at joyfulstyles.com. That's JoyfulStylez.com. Let's go, let's go. Before we get into it, y'all, I want you all to take some time out today to take that boundaries quiz. So for those of you who have not yet taken that boundaries quiz, take some time out. Again, 2 days, 2 minutes of your life. And it's very helpful for you, right? A very helpful 2 minutes. So take that time out today to take that boundaries quiz. The link for you is in the show notes. However, if you prefer me to send it over to you, just text me. Text me the word boundaries to 210-801-9153. And I got you. I'll get that sent right over to you. Let's go. Let's go. Also, for those of you who are ready to take a next step, right, to really have a practical guide, get the tea to move forward in your life right now, these things that, again, you can have them right in front of you, then I have something else for you, right? Those 5 things about boundaries I wish I knew sooner. Y'all, I'm spilling it. I'm letting you know what I wish I knew, right? And for it to be a lot less time for you to implement these things. So 5 things about boundaries I wish I knew sooner. You get that guide by clicking the link in the show notes, or you can just text me the word sooner to 210-801-9153. Okay, y'all, I'm ready. I'm ready to get into it. I'm excited, right? I'm excited to be here per usual. And I'm excited to get into this message today because, man, God is so good, y'all. God is so good. Man, but y'all see it, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Look, I'm not talking Missy Elliott, right? But seriously, y'all, is it worth it? Right? Yeah, I want to tell y'all, let y'all in on low household business, right? I bring a lot of that to the podcast here. Y'all really do be getting the tea. But seriously, y'all. So recently, right? Recently, my wife was offered to interview with this for this position with this company. This recruiter for this company, I found her online. Look, y'all, let me just pause and step back a second. Y'all, my boo is very great at what she does. Like, my wife is, she the real deal, Holyfield, and she's been sought after, right? So, this recruiter reached out to her to have her to interview with this company, but when she got some background on it and things of that sort. Now, let me tell y'all, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Now, the position that they were looking to get her in on was, the salary was 50%, roughly 50% more than her current salary, right? This new company, this new position, roughly 50% of her current salary, right? Y'all, let me tell y'all, we have values and things of that sort. I'm getting to, but is it worth it, y'all? My wife turned down this position, this opportunity and whatever, because it was not worth it to her, right? It required her, like right now we have like, so we, and she particular for her current position with this current company, she has like pretty much autonomy, so much autonomy and freedom to move how she wants to move. Like it's really in alignment with our current lifestyle, like all of the things, right? Now, this new position, again, which was often offering roughly 50% more than her current salary, they wanted her to come in the office about like 4 days, at least 4 days a week, and all these different things that she just wasn't with, right? Like she like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna have to pass on this opportunity, but keep me in mind for future opportunities, okay? It's just not, it was not worth it, right? She evaluated, is it worth it? Is it really worth us not having that flexibility and freedom that we currently do now to get up and move like we want, to travel, to be in meetings at the airport and all these different things, right? Like, is it worth it? And y'all, for my wife, my boo, she's smart, she know. It was not worth it, y'all. It was not worth her peace, right? It was not worth the interruption in our marriage, right? It was not worth, like, it just was not worth it. It was not worth her time. It was not worth her having to get in the car to commute for at least an hour a day, back and forth, things of that sort. It just was not worth it, y'all. And y'all, again, I'm proud of my boo. I am. I am, but it's not worth it, y'all. So I just want you, like, if you're someone, you're in these situations and you think about this, like, I'm jumping ahead because I kind of want to give you some practical tips right now. Like, I want you to really evaluate if these situations are worth it, right? And how you do that, you must discover and write down, right? Write it out what your values are. What are your values? Right? Take some time out today. If you want to stop this episode to write, hey, do that. Whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat, do that, because it's so important. Because when things come up and opportunities are presented to you and it don't align with your values, then it's easy to say no to. Super easy to say no to, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, listen, now my wife and I, and we have a phenomenal marriage. Like, it's so blissful. Man, God is good. We're happy, like, just in bliss, true bliss, and we enjoy still constantly and consistently enjoy being around and with each other and all these different things. Like, that's my baby, that's my boo, my best friend. So y'all, but let me tell you, sometimes my wife and I, no matter how great and blissful our marriage is, we have disagreements sometimes, right? However, when we have these disagreements, right, most of these disagreements, they don't extend past there in that moment. Like, we have these disagreements, right? We really agree to disagree and kind of like keep it moving, because to both of us, it's not worth, like I'll say it like this, to continuously dwell in the disagreement and to disagree and like constantly over and over and just keep going at it. It's just not worth the bliss. It's not worth risking the bliss of our marriage for whatever disagreement, right? We'll come to something, like agree to eat, whether that's agree to disagree, whatever it is, we'll come to something. But we both know, regardless of what it is, regardless of the issue, regardless of the whatever, it is not worth the bliss, the happiness, the joy, the peace, the fun, the love in our marriage. It is not, like, regardless of what that is, y'all. Again, I'm telling you, everything go. We know what we value. We value a blissful marriage. We value respecting one another. Like, we value like, we value these things, right? So again, y'all, when you know your values, it's a lot easier for you to say no to stuff. It's a lot easier for you to, I guess, snap out of certain things, right? You might fall into something, but it's easier for you to snap out of it or whatever, like to come back to your senses and all these different things when you know your values. Because if something isn't in line with your values, like, it has no room in your life, truly. right? It really has no room in your life. And if you're making room for the things that don't go with your values, you'll likely be tired of it. You get fed up. You get all these different things, like you get bored, you get all these different emotions and things that you don't want or you're not striving for because they weren't in alignment with your values. Y'all, is it worth it? Right? Is it worth it? Right? Oh man, we talked about things being in alignment with your values, right? Now I want you to think about this. Are those toxic, unhealthy relationships really worth your peace? To you right now, currently, it might be, because you may not value peace. And because you don't value your peace, you let these toxic, unhealthy relationships intertwine with your life and disrupt this peace that you didn't value in the first place, right? Because truly, now, oh, God help me. Yep. Because truly, if you really value something, you take care of that thing. Like me, y'all, I'm telling you, above all else, I am protecting my peace. Period. Period. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, who it is. I am protecting my peace because I highly, highly, highly value my peace. And that's why, man, these boundaries is so important. And I put these things in place because it helps me to continuously protect my peace. Right, y'all? Man, look, be my MVP. I'm being my MVP. Okay, y'all? Listen, but it's up to you, right? To decide whatever in your life, if it's worth it or not, right? Are these toxic, unhealthy relationships worth your joy? Right? Maybe you ain't tripping on the peace. Maybe like, pieces for whatever, you know. But is it worth your joy? Right? Is it worth your happiness? Like, is it truly worth it? Right? Again, if you don't value these things, like truly, truly value these things, it'll be a lot easier for these toxic and unhealthy relationships to affect your happiness, to affect your joy, to affect your peace. All of it, right? It makes it a lot easier for things to just get in and weave its way in there and just disrupt some stuff if you don't truly, truly value it, y'all. So truly, I want you to take some time today. I don't know if you heard that practical tip, that practical step, that action step for you to do today, but I'm going to make it plain and simple, clear as day. Take out a piece of paper, right? If you're listening, you can take out a piece of paper right now, right? Or if you're like me, your favorite way to take notes is on your device, right? Get one of those devices right now. Open that notes app. Get to taking notes. Write down values, right? At the top of the page, values. And start listing your values out, your true values, right? And I would even take it a step further for you. And with you, you can even write down your current values, right? Let's do that first. And then leave a space. And then write down values you aspire to have or be or do. Like, to write down those things, right? So start where you currently are, and even those values you aspire to have. Make it plain. Write it out, y'all. Write it out, because I'm telling you, when man, I'm just thinking about how much easier things are in our lives, because we know if something isn't aligned with our values, it's a no-go. Like, it's a no-brainer. You don't have to think, you don't have to take 20 years or just however long to just think on stuff that's not in alignment, right? It makes no sense, right? We wasting time. We doing all these different things that have no business in our business, because we're not really comparing, like, what is this thing, this relationship, right? Is it work? Like, is it in alignment with my values? The environment I'm in, is it in alignment with my values, right? Do they coincide with those values? Your relationships, your environments, your work, right? All of it. Does it really coincide with your values? Right? We're not just doing stuff just to do stuff. Life, I say it this way. I feel myself getting that extra pump and hype, and I'm gonna just slow it down. Take a breath for me. Yeah, okay, y'all. So, all right. But I didn't come here today to go off. Like I didn't, and I'm not going to do that today. But I want you to really think about this stuff, right? Like, just for example, another thing, right? I talk about your work is that job, right? Or that extra pay in the case of my wife and all these different things that will be taxed even more if you're not doing things appropriately, right? Is it really worth it? Like, is it really worth it? Is it worth your peace? Like, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm just thinking, and you know what, y'all? I'm just gonna have my moment. I'm just gonna have my moment. I've been reflecting and thinking on this and thinking about really, truly, man. And as I talk about this, I'm really just still internally and now externally just super happy for and proud of my wife. Like, yo, but and I know she was like that before, because even before she got the current position that she's in now, she knew what she valued, right? We transitioned out of the military, and based on some of the things that we weren't feeling in the military, but I just, I say it like this. I specifically talk about my wife here, based on some of the things that she experienced in the military, the long hours she worked, the type of working conditions she was seeing, all these different things. Like, she had these things that, what we not gonna do, right? She didn't care what the position was offering, what they're doing. Like, if you're not in alignment with these things, like, I'm not about to be working 12-hour shifts. I'm not about to be out and about in the heat anywhere. I'm not about to work on weekends and doing all this stuff. Like, she was adamant and serious. Like, is it worth it? And for her, none of those conditions, like, it's not worth it. She didn't care what the position was offering. If they weren't in alignment with what she wanted, right, and what she still wants for her life, she was not having it, and she was not doing it. It was not worth it, y'all. But it's always for you to decide if it's worth it for you. And now she's doing like maybe a third, if that, the work that she was doing in the military, and obviously, and getting paid more and things of that sort, right? And now this other job come around, like, they're dangling all this extra money in front of her face, but they want things that is not in alignment with her values. She's like, no. Like, I'm good on that. Like, what? Come in the office to what? To do? Nah. And it was so easy. Like, she didn't need to consult with me. She didn't need to whatever. I got the back end of the information. I got, after she done talked to people and declined them and turned them, she filled me in on the story because it wasn't necessary for any of that other stuff, because we know what we value. She knows what she values. She knows what's important to her. And she made sure, like, again, it's so much easier to make a decision when you know your values. Y'all, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Now, I know I've been on this side of things, but I do want to switch things up, because not long before I started recording, this part popped in my spirit. It dropped in my spirit. And I want to mention this too, because some of you, right, like, you're like me. Right? You've been living things out, and you've been walking in your values, and you've been protecting your peace and all these different things, right? But now it comes to, is that particular goal that you've been working on and towards still worth pursuing, right? Is it worth it? Is it still worth pursuing? Are the things that you used to do that was even good, right? Is it still worth it to you to do it? Right. For example, y'all, I got this for over 9 years and stuff, that I realized, right? Over 9 years, like, really consistently, I would do these good morning, great morning videos, right? In different forms. Yeah, it just, man, for a long time. I did those videos, and they're online. You want to go check them out, check the social media. They're there. But I would do these videos and these posts and things of that sort for the morning. And it became a time where, to me, like the things that needed to happen to get this stuff out, it just wasn't worth it anymore, right? And also I felt the pivot in my spirit, and I felt the need to shift to some of the things that I'm doing now. And the crazy part is that the thing that was kind of holding me back was the people I know it was helping, right? Is it worth it? The people are still worth it, but now for them to get that energy and that whatever, it's another process for them to do that now. Like for 9, like there's still things out there. My stuff is still out there. My videos, the good morning videos, all this, they're still out there. Go check them out. For years, like the people that's been like, oh, this is my thing. Like this, my morning is part of my routine. All the things, like they're still out there for you. You just won't get them fresh, right? The message can still be fresh because something else from 2 years ago, 5 years ago can still resonate with you, or even resonate with you even more so now than it did then, right? But I know in my spirit, I felt the need to shift because where I'm going and what I'm doing and things of that sort, like it was necessary, right? And so again, was that goal still worth it? Like people were like, no, Jess, I want you to still do that. I was doing it for the people, always, right? Typically, for the people. But I know, like, with it was just, yeah, I'm feeling and digging to bring out and properly articulate what I was going through during that time when I made the transition. It happened already, right? It happened earlier this year that I decided, enough is enough in a sense, and we just go move in another direction. And the people that rock with me and still want those vibes, they'll just transition with me, right? But y'all, it's just like, is it worth it? Right? Is it still worth it? Truth be told, y'all, another thing that prompt this, well, I thought about when this came in my mind, right? Is this particular goal still worth pursuing and things of that sort? Now, what I don't want us to do is use these things as a cop out to say, oh, it ain't worth it no more. And that's what we're not going to do. It is so imperative that we use the spirit of discernment here to really, really decide on these things, and is it worth it and is it not worth it, again in alignment with our values, right? Now, y'all, I talked about this a little bit in that follow through episode. If you have not listened to that episode, please go back and listen to that episode. And if you have listened to that episode, go listen again, because something now may resonate with you because in your current season. So with something in there may resonate with your current season. So yeah, go listen to that again. But yeah, I talked about it a little bit, is finishing my master's degree, right? It's I'm literally a couple classes, few classes away from being completed. And part of me is like, is that still worth pursuing? Most of me is winning, like, yeah, don't try to use it as an excuse to not finish this thing. Like, you started this is still very helpful in your current season and the things that you're doing now, and it's still very beneficial, things of that sort. But y'all, it's true, right? I'm taking it through a whole process, and like, is this really still worth it? Like, going through this process to get these finances for it, do the different things, like, it's different when it comes to a master's program versus an undergraduate program, right? Things look differently financially, the expectations, all the things. It's like, is it really worth it, right? Now, what it's not worth, I'll tell you this, it's not worth my peace. And at any point, I'm feeling like not at peace, because I believe that things can be hard or things can be somewhat difficult, but you can still be at peace with whatever is going on, right? Yeah, that's next level. That's another. I'm not even gonna get into all that, but I know I definitely go through it just like I was going through, breezing through the program before with Grace and Ease. I believe that it will. Like, again, it wasn't the easiest thing ever, and it wasn't, it's super time consuming because all the papers and all the other things. And man, okay, y'all, is it worth it? Right? You just take the time to evaluate that for you, yourself, your situation. Just, is it worth it? That's the magical question of the day. That's the question that you ask yourself going throughout the day. Is it worth it? But don't forget to look at, write out those values and everything that you're going through, the relationships that you're building, the place that you want to move to, or the neighborhood, or any of that. Is it worth it? Right? Is it in alignment? That's important, y'all. That's what I have for you today. That's what I have for you today. I'm just I'm thinking, and there's some things still I'm deciding, like every single day, really, certain things. Is it worth it? Right? Is this disagreement worth pursuing with anyone? Right? Not just with my wife, with friends, family, parents, whatever. Is it worth it? Right? Is it worth me to insert my coaching ability in certain situations when things come up? Right? It's not worth it if they don't ask me. That's, I'm just saying. The days of unsolicited advice and whatnot is over. If you're not asking me and actively looking to do something about your situation, I have nothing for you. Right? Maybe my podcast too. You can listen to the Boundaries and More podcasts, or you can, take the quiz, or all the things, right? Check out the 5 things about boundaries I wish you knew sooner, whatever. All the resources and things that are out there, people can use that instead of using me for advice and things that they're not putting into practice, into play, or me just being around and being naturally how I am, a natural problem solver, right? I am not. It's not worth me inserting myself in people's business when they don't ask for my help. It's not worth it. Even though I see the answers clear as day, it's none of my business. I believe in people taking that first step at least, right? And we can walk the other steps together, right? So, but anyway, that's another story, y'all. And speaking of taking that first step, and we can walk those other steps together, right? Let's go. For those of you who are ready to take that next step and you really want to work with me side by side, I got you. Take the time out to apply to work with me, though. You must apply to work with me. You can click the link in the show notes, or you can just text me the word apply to 210-801-9153, and I got you. We can make sure that I get that stuff sent over to you. You apply, and we can go from there, right? It just depends. Like, yeah, it's a process, and it's a method to all the madness. I promise you. It's super, super important that you do that. Yeah, it just shows me part of you being serious. So, okay, y'all, truly, that's what I have for you today. I am out of here. I'm excited just about all the things that's coming very, very soon. Uh, yeah, y'all, I'm not even going to get into all of that, because then we're going to be here another 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and we don't want to do that. Not today, not this episode. Maybe I put some stuff on another episode. So y'all, I'm really excited, and I am looking forward to all the amazing things that will happen in your life, right? In your life, because I know it will, especially if you're here and you're listening to this. You want something better, you want something different, you want to do something new, right? And then there's a community for you to do that with as well, y'all. I guess kind of releasing this, the cat's out the bag, I'm sure, at this point. So you can check the link in the show notes to be able to, for your invite to join the Boundaries and More community. And yeah, that's something I'm really, really excited about, and what we're doing and we'll be doing there. But yeah, y'all, I'm out of here, right? Take the time out today to follow us on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. Again, that's on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. And please, please, please take the time out today to have an amazingly, absolutely amazingly beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week and be back here next week for more Boundaries and More with Jess Abraham. Talk to y'all then.